Welcome to Co-op Mode. Round, I can't see my screen, 123. This is the official video game. 123, easy to know. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by the Canadian Mark Carabin. How you doing, bud?
I am good. 1, 2, 3, switch.
Woo. Everybody 1, 2, 3, switch.
Everybody
now.
It's just 1, 2 switch
now.
though. I don't even know. I'm just making some stuff up now. I'm good. How are you?
Together. Good. It's a Tuesday. Mark is only held back by this show before he gets with Chisoka, and so is our guest, Mr. Cheesy. How are you? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. I was really excited when you guys asked to have me back, so I have a good time on here.
Awesome, man.
Excellent. Well, Cheesy, we're looking forward to this great conversation. We have a big show because apparently they dropped all the video game news on September, including Apple. Surprise, surprise. There we go. And we got more game news coming out with TGS at the end of the month. But we'll talk about that at the back end of this show. Before we do that, we want to thank our Patreons, our Secret Friends Squad, our best buds, Jamie Prinky, BFFs, Sean, Stella, Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. Thank you so much for making our content happen, keeping the power on, getting me a new microphone, a boom mic. So thank you for that. And we are on, and actually I had to replace my microphone too. So thank you so much, Patreons. And if anybody's interested in becoming a Patreon or just checking out what we do over there, get a free 1-week trial. You'll enjoy tons of content. We just recorded a new comic rack episode, spinner rack episode for all of your enjoyment. So check that out. So with that, everybody's ready. Cheesy, are you ready to buy, rent, or return sport video games? So I had one clarification before I finalized this list. I asked Mark one thing. I said, NHL 94 or Blades of Steel. So this choice was Mark's. I love Blades of Steel too, but I was concerned because the reason why I thought about this list of all of these sport games we're going to choose today, someone made an NHL documentary on NHL 94.
Oh.
All about NHL 94, the video game. Like, that is so cool that we're getting these cool slices of video games and how important that game is, because that game has been seen in movies all over the place. It's iconic. It's probably the most iconic sports game, outside of some of them, because they've been in movies. So because I've got that, I chose 3 different games. Well, Mark did. He chose one of them. Blades of Steel, NFL Blitz, and NBA Jam. I could have picked NHL Hits too, or Wayne Gretzky's hockey, but lesser known. So
Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball.
True.
Ready to fight you.
That
You didn't let me pick that one. I don't know.
Backyard sports.
Oh, yes. What is it? The Michael Irvin's dog football? Oh, no, Jerry Rice's dog football. Yes.
Dog football?
Dog football. Yeah. It's there. Check it out.
All right.
Yes, there you go. So with that, Cheesy, of these 3 games, what will you buy, rent, and return?
Man, this is so tough. I had to look up Blades of Steel because I had not played Blades of Steel. And NBA.
So can I tell you something a little cool about Blades of Steel first? And Mark, chime in. So Blades of Steel is a Konami game when they actually made a sports game. And it had, I think it was the first hockey video game where they were fighting. That was amazing. And it also had, like, on the main screen during the different periods, it had like Gradius or Life Force in the background. And it was amazing. I just thought they did such a great job with it. Mark, any memories of Blades of Steel?
No, I do remember the fighting. Full disclosure, the only one of these games I owned was NBA Jam. My friend owned Blades of Steel, so that's why that stuck out. And I do remember the fighting. But yeah, that was about it. Sports games were not and continue to not really be my jam. So unless you're talking Looney Tunes B-ball or NBA Jam or something a little over the top, that's your and I know, like, NFL Blitz, I think was a little over the top, but Blades of Steel just sticks out for, like, I'd go over to Kristen and Ryan's place and play little Blades of Steel.
So for me, my first hockey game was NHL Hits. I think 2002. Really loved that. I think the opening is like Limp Bizkit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love basketball. That's my favorite sport. So I love NBA Jam, but going back and looking at gameplay of it, it's kind of boring. And I hate saying that because it's like just how crazy you can get with dunks, but it's pretty quiet too. Like the announcer doesn't really say anything until you make a shot. So I hate saying it, but I'm probably going to return NBA Jam. Yeah, I know. Rent Blades of Steel and then buy NFL Blitz because I think the game is wild and just how far you can tackle somebody was hilarious to me. At the time, I think that was showing like this is how crazy football is, and now you get to play it as a game. And also just going over to a friend's house and playing it with them brings back a lot of memories. So I'm not really proud of my decision. But NBA Jam also, to go back to it, you can only play with 2 players on a team. And so like I get that's like kind of the fun of it, but it's also like, where's the rest of the team? I don't know. That's where I'm landing, I guess.
And Michael Jordan wasn't even in it.
I have been in your position so many times of like, I'm not happy with my choices here, but these are my choices.
Yeah.
I know you're feeling right now. That's like, yeah.
Because you've said it and you can't take it back. I mean, you can, but then like, what is your word? Yeah.
I get it. I think I felt that the last episode, didn't I, Todd? Like I was just defeated by myself. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Terrible feeling. Todd does this to us.
I try to mix it up. I try to make it like not controversial. I don't make, I don't try to like, who is your favorite person in your family? Your son, your wife, or your dad? I don't do that to you.
That would be easier than some of the choices that you've made.
Oh, love it. I love it.
Oh, she doesn't watch this show, so that I can say stuff like that. All right, I guess is it my turn now?
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
We're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna. Ah, man, I don't know. I'm gonna. NBA Jam was just it doesn't hold up well, but I just still remember that over the top like boom shakalaka, like the announcer when he did announce was so iconic that I think I have to make that my buy, which means Blades of Steel is my rent and NFL Blitz is going to be my return. Just because if I said I'd return Blades of Steel as a Canadian, I think I'd get kicked out of the country.
Yeah. They throw loonies at you.
Yeah, if I chose football over hockey, I think I'd just get kicked out straight. So so there we go. Basketball, hockey, football. That's my order, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm curious if I'd picked like Nintendo hockey, where it's just Fat Mario, Tall Mario, Normal Mario. There's your team. Great game.
Yep.
Oh boy. Let's see. With me, I enjoyed all of these. I would say Blades of Steel was probably my first video game, sports game. I loved it. I loved everything Konami was doing at the time. I don't believe this one had the Konami code in it because I don't know what that would get you, like $13 at the same time. That would be fun. But no. NFL Blitz, I'm a huge football fan, and to your point, Cheesy, like you could continue like doing like elbow drops and, for way past the play was supposed to be over, and you just keep doing it. And NFL is probably like, concussions, we probably don't want to be showing these players being drop kicked and pile drives. So, but yeah, so much fun. I remember they even brought on NFL Blitz back in the day where it was like they tried to modernize it and make it a real football game, but they introduced like steroids and like the dark side of the NFL, and it had I forgot which NFL player was like the face of it. It was like, okay, you guys totally missed the plan with that. It just went too far. NBA Jam. I don't know if NBA Street's the better series, but NBA Jam is very good. And NBA Street, I mean, you could play with Mario and Peach on the same team.
Yeah.
Volume 3, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go with probably return NBA Jam, just because point it does feel limited. It's very dated by this point, and the players, if you use like the original version, are all from like the 1990s, so they really wouldn't resonate with a lot of people except for me. But I would like to play some of the newer players. Then I'm going to rent Blades of Steel. It's good, but it's limited. It's not real teams, and all the teams are made up, and it is pretty limited hockey game. There's not much to it. And then NFL Blitz, I'm going all of this. I love football. I'm bad at Madden. This is my style of play. It's essentially you're just throwing all the time. There's no point to be a running back in this game. You can do a little bit, but it is a game of just chuck it and forget it and have it a good time. So that's what I'm going with.
Excellent. Blades of Steel for the Game Boy, you could put in the Konami code, and it did sound test mode, but I have not yet found anything.
Oh, exciting!
This version. So, it does technically work on at least one version of Blades of Steel. If you know that it works on another one, let us know.
Absolutely. Well, very, very good. Well, now we're getting to the gaming part because we've got a big thing to talk about at the end of the show. So, Cheesy, what have you been playing, man?
Well, real quick, I just want to say I love that you guys do that segment because I don't think anybody else does. And it's so creative and really just kind of opens a conversation, and maybe friends are no longer friends after it. I don't know. But
some hosts don't talk to each other after the show.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. A lot of my time, and probably an unhealthy amount, has been gone to FZero 99. I can't stop playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible because like I wasn't really even like a big FZero fan, other than I guess knowing that Captain Falcon is in Smash. Like I knew it was a series. I'm pretty sure I've played like the Game Boy game. But other than that, like I don't really have like any attachment to it. And this game is it is good. I want more F-Zero, and the 99 series, like whatever they did for this game, they nailed it.
Yeah.
How far have you gotten? So F-Zero 99 is essentially it's essentially a battle royale of F-Zero. It's not exactly the SNES game, but it's probably a little bit better than that game, but it's essentially that. So I've only got past like the first round of 25, and then I'm like, I'm horrible at this game, but I'm sure I'll try to get better. How far have you gotten, Cheesy?
Are we talking like the 99 or the Grand Prix or?
Yeah.
So I've gotten first twice now. Yeah. Nice. It's a lot of fun. I love taking down people, like getting KOs. That is like the thing I aim for every race, which is really mean, but like, don't use your power boost if you're going to run out. Like you got to conserve that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been knocked out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I love when you get knocked out and you get to become that little bomb car. Like in, Mario Kart 64, and you can kind of drive around and just like you wait till there's a crowd coming up and you're like detonate and just take out as much as you can. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just like the dopamine hits that you get with the game is incredible, because it's not only are you trying to get first of 98 other players, you have 4 rivals that you're also trying to beat. So even if you don't get first, say you get like maybe, I don't know, 20th place, you still have the 4 rivals that you may have beat, and that makes you feel good. So there's just so much. You can rank up, you get tickets to go into Grand Prix and harder levels. I really hope they add a friend mode, because Tetris 99 did that, right?
Yeah. That it is missing like that kind of feature of like, hey, let's jump in a lobby let's just that seemed like they'd be just there if this was an Xbox game or something like that. That just like even if you're not on a team or something like you would be in Fortnite or other battle royales, like it would still just be fun to be like, hey Cheesy, hey Todd, let's go race, and just, hey, what did you come in that time? Oh, I came in 20th. Oh, I got knocked out. Oh, Cheesy's in first again. That's it. I don't care if you're on my rival list. You're my rival. Like you just get that kind of thing where you could just trash talk each other or just be in the same lobby.
Or
the
you're
same
bad
race,
like
the
me,
same
and I can
tournament.
just be there to just attack you. And knowing I'm going to lose, just make your life hell.
Right, but we could just like hang out and talk. So I totally agree that they need a little bit of that, but like the formula that they've landed on is so good.
Yeah.
It's smart. And it seems like they're rotating these games. Like they'll get rid of Mario 35, which it's a shame that they got rid of Mario 35. But then they brought in Pac-Man. Pac-Man's gone, right? So then they kept Tetris around. That's the one that stayed around. So I like the fact that they play with different franchises you wouldn't expect. I mean, I didn't expect Pac-Man to be one of those, but that was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And now with F-Zero, it's kind of, maybe it's Nintendo's way of saying, we heard what you want in F-Zero. Here's your F-Zero. Now leave us alone. You've been respected.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of hope that they look at it as like, oh, we want more F-Zero games, and not like, oh, they love these 99 games. Let's give them more, which I mean, those are great too.
Yeah.
But if people are wanting more F-Zero, hopefully they get the right message on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes Star Fox.
We heard your feedback and how much you enjoyed F-Zero 99. We know what you're wanting. Yeah, here's Star Fox 99. It's like, no.
You're good for another 10 years.
Plus F-Zero, please. Just, you have to imagine that they're watching the statistics of this too. You have to imagine that they're saying, because there is that choice as well of who picks which carts or racers, or who picks, there's the start where you pick between stages. So like there's got to be a stage that's lower on the list after you get a few weeks or months of data that Nintendo can see and be like, oh, there's some reason that people really hate this, this stage versus this stage. This one always wins. Let's base another F-Zero game around this. Like you have to imagine that they're grabbing that data and looking at it and analyzing it for whether it's future 99 games, future F-Zero games, other racers like Mario Kart, whatever. Like it is giving them a ton of data as well. But it is so addicting. You just, I can't stop. I've only won once, so I got to catch up to you. But it is so good.
Which card are you using?
I've been bouncing back and forth, mostly the Blue Falcon, but I did use I forget the name of it, the yellow one as well.
I like to use the Wild Goose. It's like more durable. So like if you are in a pack, you're not really losing that much damage, but you can also probably hit harder. That's what I think. The little stats that they give you, they're not very clear, but that's what I've been rocking.
Nice. Have you customized it all?
A little bit.
Have you done that far? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
something I don't. Yeah, I don't see many people doing that, even customizing their player cards. Like if you've won a race, like you get the little first badge that you can add to your player card. So when you pop up as someone's rival, it shows like I came in first, or I did this, or I did that. Nice. And you can kind of angle your card, pick a different background or whatever, and you unlock more stuff as you go and as you race and level up. And I don't see many people doing that. And maybe it's just a lot of people are just trying it out early over the weekend, whatever. But I hope people kind of catch on to that and like dive into that customization of just like, I can change the colors for the stickers on the side of the Falcon. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could assume they would do themes too, maybe in the background rather than the sky. You get something crazy, partner with some brands. That would be very fun. I think people would appreciate that, especially if this sticks around for some time. I mean, at this point, these last typically, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I don't know how long Pac-Man lasted, but I mean, I assume it's good at least for 6 months, especially with the NSO releases so limited at times, where it's like, here's something new and exciting to get you to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
They were a good
Pac-Man has
time
been
too.
around for like a year, maybe.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think so, because it's still not gone yet until I think October 1st or the end of
Oh, it's
October.
still there. I didn't even
Yeah,
realize it. Wow.
yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, I hope this is one that sticks around. And like you said, maybe there's like really cool events, because I feel like that's how they get people to come back to Tetris 99, is
Yeah.
all of those little fun events that they have. So it'll be cool to
Mm.
see. And they've already had some data mines on modes and different tracks that are coming out.
Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
what kind of stuff's coming out? I haven't read any like leaks or anything.
Yeah, I just saw headlines, so I haven't actually like clicked on it, but we're getting more stuff, and I think that's very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is very cool. I love it.
Todd, are you going
Good
to
job,
jump back
Nintendo.
in, or are you just kind of like, it's cool, I get the concept, Mark and Cheese,
That
can
is
enjoy
probably going to
it.
be my approach. I just wanted to try it out. I am not a race car guy. Even Mario Kart, something I'm like, I get it. I played a little bit of it. I'm like, move on. I don't know. It's cool though. I really recommend everyone checking it out just for the you feel like you're doing something every time. You know, you get a feel for the tracks. It handles so differently than other race car games too that it just feels significantly different. It's fast at times. Sometimes it's slow. They added the super highway over top, which is kind of cool. The
Such a cool
vehicle you have to
mechanic.
go after get the power ups and things is fun as well. So it's definitely not taking me back, because I think I played FZero once when I was a kid, so it doesn't take me back at all.
That's it. Like I remember playing FZero, the original, and the Game Boy Advance version is like I put some time into that one, but it's not a series that like I have super levels of nostalgia for. Just kind of like Cheesy said, but like there's something about this that made me stay up till like 2 a.m. Friday or Saturday night, just need one more race. I just need one more. And even when I was coming in like 40th, I'd be like, okay, will I still beat a rival? I'm still getting some points. I'm still
Yeah.
leveling up. I'm almost at the
Getting
next
better
level.
every
Let's
time.
keep going. I can do one more. And
Mhm.
they do that thing with the event races or whatever it is, the Grand Prix kind of races that they're like, hey, this is ending in 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to play I started one. I jumped in there. It was like, this is ending in 58 seconds. And I was like, no, it's not. Let's go. Like it was like that level of like, I don't want to miss out. Let's do this. And, you try to get those tickets to jump in those events. And it's just like, they have so many of those little carrots that you just want to chase. Instantly from the get-go. So I'm loving this, and I can't wait to see what kind of leaks or plans or whatever are coming up the pipeline. That's super exciting.
Yeah, I feel like even though it's such a small game, I could talk about this game for a while. And like even the Grand Prix, I love the Grand Prix because it's 5 races that you have to go through, and then it's like the top 80 get to go through the next one, and then the top 60 or whatever. But what's fun about the races, if you keep going, if you bump into like a gray bumper and you KO it, your boost meter will increase, and that carries on throughout the next races. And there's just so much to it that is so smart that I never would have thought that I would enjoy something like this, like a battle royale racing game. That's sounds weird, but
It's quick
it
too.
works.
It's quick. If it
Yeah.
wasn't quick, I don't think it would bring you back. But it's your 3 laps, and that's it. And and you might die very quickly, like I do most of the time. So get back in, and it's very in and out. It's not like a lot of load times. You're getting in there. I didn't experience any lag. I think it's really well done. I think this is where Nintendo can innovate and have fun in a different way than just having a bunch of 100 guys land on an island and shoot each other.
I'm trying to imagine like a Mario Kart. I don't think you could do 99 with items. I just think that would be just insane. But like even a Mario Kart 50,
like Mario Kart Traffic Jam.
But like I would love that even in the SNES style. Like bring back
Could
those
you
kind
do
of
Mario Kart
courses,
tracks
kind of
with an F-Zero?
Oh, you could, I guess. Yeah.
Like Super Mario Kart or Mario
You'd
Kart,
have
I
to
guess would be,
extend
yeah.
some of them out to make it, because the F-Zero tracks are kind of long because you get that speed, but some of them are twisty turny. So I think you could kind of translate some of the Mario Kart like Super Nintendo tracks without too much hassle. But I think like as a game speed load, this one's a lot easier to do than something like Mario Kart with a ton of items and that kind of stuff. But I would love to see, like I said, even like Mario Kart 50 of just like 50 people on the screen tossing red shells at each other, just duking it out. Like I never realized how much I want battle royale racing. Like this is
Yeah.
a
Excite Bike
new
could work
genre.
Excite
Hell
Bike could
yeah.
work. Yeah.
because you got jumps
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and yeah, overheating and yeah, all that fun
What's the
stuff.
most
Kicking
impressive
people.
of this game is like it's all on one screen versus like Tetris
Yes.
99 where you're, playing with the Tetraminos, but then you can send other like attack blocks and stuff to other players. This is all happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so well done. Even the lead up where you're all just starting in that big row and you're kind of funneling through and through and through, and the real race hasn't even started and you're still kind of like, I don't know about you, get like I'm jockeying for position. I'm like, if someone bumps me off of a speed boost or something like that, I'm like, you're it. Like that's it. What color were
Yep.
you? I'm coming for you. Like, and it gets so crazy that way. And some of them have different ways you can go to even get to that starting line. So by the time that's there, like there's already, you got your underdogs in the back. Can they come back up? You got the leaders. It's like, can they hold position? And it's like before the race starts, you have that little meta game, that little story of like, okay, like here's some excitement
Yeah.
before the damn race starts. Like, come on. I play a lot of Fortnite, and it's like before, you don't really start rivalries before the match starts. Like that's, you're in the lobby, you're waiting around, you're dancing before the bus pulls out. It's just like, this is such another level of that metagame competition, amp up, ready to go, kind of like it sets the adrenaline off, like I said, before the start gate is even in front of you. It's wildly addicting.
Yeah.
So good.
Cool.
I want to go play
Cheesy,
more of it right
else?
now.
Oh yeah,
I know, right? Like,
Mark, why are you looking at us right now? Pay no attention.
You guys are lucky my Switch is back there.
My friends and I, we have gotten into the same lobby before. We'll just like count it down and be like 3, 2, 1, go. And like we do get into the same lobby, but that's not like the best way I would want to do it. But if you are looking to get into the same lobby, it's possible.
Nice.
Yeah. No, other than that, I mean, like Mark said, honestly, I was up until 2 a.m. last night. Shouldn't have been. And I'm still using Pokemon Sleep to help me have better sleep. And that has worked. But apparently it does not work with F-Zero 99. That's not anywhere in their guidelines.
That's not
or
sleeping.
anything. Yeah.
That's not sleeping. Yeah.
I like the thought of you just in a race car running Pikachu over on the way to like, it's like, please go to sleep. You're no, it's just like gone.
KO.
Yeah, Smash Brothers style. He just flies off the track, and you're just like, all right, Falcon Punch. Let's do
You're
this.
dead to me.
Yeah,
I need to sleep.
I love it. That's amazing. Does Pokemon Sleep actually like? I still haven't downloaded it.
My son's been using it, and he says it helps him quite a bit. So we said we all do it together, and we haven't yet. So I need to help my wife with it on her phone, and yeah,
it's helped me because it's now
in my bed.
That part is a little weird, like having it charged and right next to you, but your screen is face down, so it doesn't use that much battery. And if it's being charged, the screen is dark, so it's not going to overheat that much, but still, like it's still dangerous. But since like my sleep is now gamified, I hate seeing that I have like a low score. And you can also see your friends' scores. It doesn't say like how long they slept or like, what kind of position they were sleeping in or anything like that. But like, you do get to see their score, and it does kind of make you feel bad if you're like, oh man, I only got 6 hours of sleep, which normally I like before Pokemon sleep, I would go to bed at like 12 and 2 o'clock in the morning, like just kind of whenever I got tired. But now it has helped, but not last night. So we'll see. We'll see if it continues.
Well, that's good. Like even the fact that you're cognizant of that, of like you're thinking about it, like whereas before you could have been just like, you know what, I played FZero till 2 a.m. and I'm gonna do the same thing tonight. Like the fact that you're like, I kind of want to get back to that so I can keep earning points.
Yeah.
And keep going in Pokemon. Like that's really interesting. That's like a really like singing endorsement.
What's going to happen when that app dies, though? The people are not going to be able to sleep anymore when they pull the app after 3 years or whatever.
To be
the
honest,
average length of a Nintendo app aren't very long, unfortunately. Yeah,
I feel like Pokemon games are probably they have a longer shelf life.
Yeah.
And honestly, the main reason I think I'm still using it is that it works as my alarm clock. Like I was already using an alarm clock before, but now that there's an alarm clock in Pokemon Sleep, it's like, all right, I might as well just keep using it.
Cool.
Yeah. Somehow that doesn't help my son wake up for some reason. Not sure why.
Snorlax award earned. Yeah. You just need a Poke Flute, Todd. That's it. Just go wake him up with a flute.
I've been waiting for it. Yeah.
If playing the flute doesn't work, you just kind of whack him with it a little bit. Just like motivation.
I have enough Mr. Mime nightmares, Mark, so let's not talk about them. Okay, so Mark, I am very curious about the first game you played.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've put a ton of time in FZero 99, so that's like that was my weekend. But I also got to play hold on. There we go. All right,
there we go.
Put on my Outright Games ambassador hat for this one. Outright Games sent a package of some swag, so I'm going to wear the hat while I talk about the game that they sent me, which was the Baby Shark game. And Finn, my son, he's 3 years old, so obviously he loves Baby Shark. So when I saw that Outright Games had a Baby Shark game, I was like, I need a code for that, regrettably, because that's going to get stuck in my head and be a thing that's on my Switch. And you know what, though? It is actually pretty cute. It is a very rudimentary, cute rhythm game that you can play with a single Joy-Con if you want to, or a Pro Controller or whatever. It doesn't take anything really to play it. You can even play with the 8BitDo Micro that I got. Very, very simple kind of game but it does mix it up every once in a while. So one version of the game is literally just pressing the face buttons. So A, B, X, Y. You press those as they come across the screen, just like any other rhythm, Guitar Hero, music kind of game, whatever it is. And you're just playing along to the Baby Shark songs. So if they drive you crazy, skip this one. But if you have kids, get it. So that's one of them. Another one, you're kind of like, it's not as much rhythm based. There's a little bit to it, but like you're kind of moving along, trying to collect coins, music notes, different cards, and avoid things like crabs and fish that are going in your way. And it's very, very simple, literally left and right, up, down if you want to, but you could actually just do left and right scrolling and a jump button if you really need to. My wife, we were playing 2-player cooperative with my son, kind of watching. We'd pass him a controller for some of those levels. And literally, you don't even have to press jump for 98% of especially like the first few levels. I was very surprised because the game starts off so easy. You're basically just kind of like press A on the beat. You could be half asleep and not watching the screen and still probably pass the first couple of levels. But then as we got further, it was just kind of like throwing up some really quick kind of like button changes at me. And it threw me off because it just hit me of like, oh, shoot, I'm not just pressing the same button anymore. Now it's like ABA, AXA, like BX, it's like, it was just like really, I don't know, it kind of ramps up kind of quickly or quicker than I expected it to, because I was just lulled into this false sense of like, I'm going to sleep my way through this game and Finn's going to sing along to the songs. That's neat. But yeah, it's decent. I mean, it's a Baby Shark game. It is what it is, but like, it's cute. It's well done. Like most of the Outright games have been so far. They're cute to play with your kids. What more can I say than that, right? Like it's for a very specific audience. Todd, I don't think you'll be clamoring to play this one.
No, Mark, do they have other music, or is it just Baby Shark, or is there like public domain music, like Mary Halo Lamb or anything like that?
So far I've come across Baby Shark and Baby Shark-esque remixes.
Oh, okay.
There's probably some public domain stuff, I'm sure. But
is there music by Fish?
I wish that'd be amazing.
Real Big Fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
The whole thing ends with some Great Big Sea. It'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Aqua.
Aqua. Yeah, you got to have that in there.
Yes.
It would work in a rhythm game.
It would, totally. Absolutely. I want to play the rhythm game that we just came up with, but it's just there's also
ocean
themed music game.
It's Raining Men. I guess that count as water based.
I think so. Anything that's water adjacent would be amazing.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. I can keep going all night if you want.
You need some TLC in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like most of the Outright games, like you kind of know what you're going to get with this. It's good quality stuff. Like the voices, the animation, everything looks and sounds really good. Everything's bright and colorful and super entertaining. Finn was instantly drawn to it, and it was good. We had fun with it,
Great.
Which I don't always expect for like kiddie based games, but there was enough that, my wife and I and Finn were all just kind of jamming on the couch and having a good time playing some Baby Shark. The game I want to mention hasn't come out yet, doesn't come out till November, but it was announced today. Outright Games just announced that there's a Bluey game coming out. I'm wearing my Bluey shirt. This was a coincidence. And I need to keep the hat on for this because I am so freaking excited for this. It sounds like it's the correct voice actors. The trailer looks like it's just straight out of one of the shows. It's going to be good. Game of the year already. Not out till November, but I know. Lock it in. Just Bluey. Just looks amazing.
It's going to be 4 players too, Mark. So it's fun for the whole family.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pick Mom, Dad, Bluey, or Bingo. I'm excited. You get to go visit Grandpa. You get to go to the beach. You get to do some other adventures. There's a Flora's Lava game. Like
EP Uppy.
Outright Games. I hope there's Keepy Up. There's got to be Keepy Up.
It is. Magic Xylophone are mentioned in this game, Mark.
Yeah.
Cheesy.
It's
you're speechless. I can tell.
I wish that I had the excuse to watch Bluey. Like, of course, I could watch it on my own.
You don't need an excuse. I know many single people that watch Bluey. I've been tempted to watch Bluey. It's a cult, really.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I knew of it, but I heard Mark talk about it on We the Gamercast. And the way that they both were talking about it, I was like, what am I missing here? Why is everybody obsessed with Bluey? And so, like, I don't know, maybe it was a month later, it started showing up on my TikTok feed, and it was like just episodes. People would just upload episodes of it, and where you have to turn your phone sideways to watch the whole video. And I got it. Like, I watched one episode and I'm like, this is really good. So yeah, I might have to check it out.
It's and you don't have to be a parent to watch it, but it's like a parenting show pretending to be a kid's show, but like you can still get stuff out of the show even if you're not a parent. Like if you like have life, it just some of the episodes in particular, like some of them are just like goofy and fun kind of kids kind of stuff, but others are like, okay, all right, I wasn't expecting that. I need a break to just think about the things, and like, kids would just be like, woohoo, you're in space and you're having dreams, and it's just like, no. It's so good. It's a great show, and I can't wait for the game. It's going to be great. So Outright Games, thanks for keeping us ambassadors all swagged up and everything, but also just releasing great games that I can play with my family. Todd, you're muted.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I was muted.
Yep.
I was trying to be courteous, but apparently not talking to your co-hosts is not a good idea. So something I was playing that's less family friendly just released on Game Pass, and that is Lies of P. The P stands for Pinocchio, folks. Lies because he did. That he went to Bad Kid Island and almost got killed. Yeah, that's Pinocchio. This game is Bloodborne. It is Bloodborne all over the map. If you are a Bloodborne fan, you want to play this game. I don't think they even try to deny it. It is very, very wonderful in the aesthetic. You take on automatons that look like essentially like clockwork people, like police and everybody are of that aesthetic. It's beautiful. The combat is cool, but punishing, of course. And I like how they incorporate like Jiminy Cricket is essentially next to you, kind of like a narrator. Then it also you can hear the Blue Fairy or a Blue Fairy-esque character doing narration, which is cool. And there's not much of a story at the beginning, but it's set in like like late 1800s London kind of feel. So you get that grime and the grit of like London. But like most Souls games, it passes the test when it kills Todd like 10 times in a row. Like this big boss guy just takes you out. Any character can kill you at any time. And I would say it's pretty forgiving and gets you back into combat pretty quickly, but it is get a bonfire. You'll keep your stuff when you get there, but you have to find the bonfire. You can find shortcuts that bring you back. But other than that, it's another Souls game that I want to find one that will bring me in and keep me. But Bloodborne's the only one that did it. And quite honestly, I only got to the first boss and I quit. And I said, I've accomplished and more than I would ever do in a Souls game. I'm quitting there. I'm a winner. So I won Souls. So yeah, that's Lies of P. So check it out if you have Game Pass. It's on both PC and console. It's definitely a great get that Xbox has. So I know it's something that they've been wanting to fill in their library with some day and date third-party games. This one fills right in. So it's great for Xbox. Now that Starfield's out, they're going to need some releases as, there's more things coming to other consoles. So it's a good game that they have. Awesome. Then I dipped into Sea of Stars. So Sea of Stars,
great
this is essentially kind of a Chrono Trigger spiritual successor. It is the art style is that type of pixel art that couldn't be done on the SNES and NES. It's really well done. It's turn-based combat, and they have mixed in some more action elements within the combat. So like you can hold an attack, power it up, and let it go to have more violence in how you attack. And I didn't get the rest of my party to join me. I'm very early in the game, but apparently there's a lot of like almost like Mario RPG mechanics where it's time based, and it's very the art style is cool, but you get to these cutscenes that are more like animated style that I'm like, I do like the pixel art, but when I see that art style, it's also in the like almost the cover art. That's beautiful. I wish the game looked like that. So I don't know why they did it, because it does feel like it separates it from me. It's like that when back in the old days when you had the game where it's like you get like a cutscene because a game could never look that way, and then you went back to your standard art style. I feel like, well, no, a game can look like that now, so why aren't we getting that? So I was a little torn, but I know there's a certain crowd that they crave those type of games and that type of era. I don't know if I'll stick with it or not. I don't know. I'm hoping. I heard it's 30 hours long, which for a game like that, that's a lot for me. Turn-based games typically turn me off because you get to essentially points where you're lacking enough potions or not the right skills, so then you have to go back and grind to get the stuff, and that just kind of turns me off a little bit. So it's probably not something I'll stick with. It. I just wanted to give it a try to see what it is, but I do like what they're going for. So it's definitely definitely a game to try. It's also on day and date on Game Pass, and also day and date on PS Plus. So check it out there, and if you have a Nintendo system, you can pay them $40 for it. So that is the price of, but it's also on Switch, and it probably runs great there. And then lastly, Starfield. I am torn on Starfield. It says I've played it for 55 hours. I know I haven't. I think it just doesn't, when you're in like the pause screen, it keeps your time running for some reason, which is weird. But they have announced that there's going to be all of these improvements coming out, specifically a lot of it on PC, that will improve the game aesthetically, include DLSS, add all of these functions, fix HDR, and some other things. And then the other thing they're building in, which I really want, is city maps. They're building those in too. Those are coming later. So almost like I feel like these big games, they don't launch complete. They take a long time to get really at their best. Like Witcher 3 took a long time to get where it is. We know that Cyberpunk has been on a journey, and they're just launching 2.0 of the base game and their DLC 2 years later on Thursday. And I've held off on that game to get improvements as well. But you eventually have to jump in. So I'm torn because I want to play the game at its best. Because I'm probably not going to come back if I've already beat the game and say, oh, what does it look like now? But I do like the game. The best mission is still like the first mission I played in the game so far. So I'm waiting to find the hook. I don't think I'm far enough in it that I've experienced some turning points in the game yet, but I am curious where it goes. And I do need a better ship because I have gotten my butt handed me because I don't have the right weapons or shielding. So, and I've given up on picking up everything. It's just a fool's errand. Pick up ammunition because it doesn't weigh anything. But other than that, don't. You'll be so mad at being encumbered. You'll be like me. You look like a hoarder where you've just dropped all your crap in your ship. And then I took over a ship. And because this is a fun tip, what you can do is if you land on a planet and you see a ship land, you can steal it. Especially when they go out on like a patrol, you go in. There might be some people on that ship, and they don't like you very much. So you might have to take care of some business. And unfortunately, there's no one to clean up the bodies, and I don't know a way to move the bodies. So it's a little dicey, folks. They're too big to fit in like a container. And, thankfully they don't scan your ship when you're coming down because they don't consider like dead bodies contraband, but they scan for contraband, but not dead bodies apparently.
And it's a Bethesda game, so at one point one of those bodies is going to start dancing around like it's Weekend at freaking Bernie's in space.
Oh,
and it's
man, that's the game we need.
Clip ever. That is the game we need. When that happens, please clip it. I need to see that clip. Fantastic. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So you're just driving around space with a couple of corpses?
They apparently will clean them up when you port. Yes, I have the problem of some stuff, but apparently you can, like, you dock and you like change out a part on your ship. They just disappear. Apparently,
sure.
I mean, it's part of the service, body cleaning service.
What happens?
So, I don't know.
That's in
I don't get it. I don't really get it. And I'm so excited what people are building. They're making ships based on like what was it? Obi-Wan's it's Anakin's Star Cruiser.
I saw the Magic School Bus posted today. I thought it was fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's great. That takes a lot of work and effort, though. Probably more than I could put together. I've seen people like, I put 10 hours into the ship and it looks like a toddler made it, sadly. So I don't know if it's worth it, but if you really have plans, it's there. So it's a cool game. I really do like it. It's just, I've got Mortal Kombat 1 that just came in the mail. So that's going to get played next. So Starfield might get pushed aside for some time.
That's fair. I think with Bethesda games, that's going to happen. You kind of, you want to jump in and like be part of like the conversation at first and be like, yeah, I played Starfield. It's cool. But then like I think it's kind of safe to dip if you're not scared of like spoilers or anything like that and just kind of come back. Like, I mean, that Skyrim had such a long tail to it just because of that kind of thing. They kept iterating, they kept releasing it for new consoles and toasters and whatever came out at the time that could run it. Like, just I wonder if Starfield's going to have that same super long life. And it seems like they're already road mapping those improvements and stuff to keep people hopefully coming back. So I think that's kind of safe. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out in the next little bit. So
yeah, I think there's some really good there's some really good guides out there right now. They're like kind of telling you which side quests are the best, because that's really one I want to find. I want to find those side quests that are amazing. I haven't found much just by exploring planets yet. I go there, I'm like, oh, I've been in this bunker, because essentially the bunker is just duplicated on a lot of these planets, which is just kind of sad to me. It's not like a lot of it's procedurally generated and they reuse some assets. So it's still disappointed, but I want the best side quests. Like, the first side quest I did was amazing, and I want more of those type of things. So I will probably do mainline, but then look for the best side quests. I heard there's some great faction quests that are fantastic too. So I think that's what I want to do. I want more of a guided experience based on what people tell me is awesome. And then if I find something cool along the way that I just found out of, I just discovered it, that's awesome for me. Because that game will devour your life. And I heard people put 200 hours in. So I don't have 200 hours to give the game, but I'd rather get the best out of that game than I can.
Crazy.
All right, that's what we've been playing, folks. Let us know what you've been playing. We'd love to hear about it. I know there's a lot of gems that are out there. I've been harassed because I don't play enough indie games. Jason Marshall called me out, so I've got Remnant 2 coming in the mail too. I'm going to play that one, so we'll see how that goes, because I probably will get destroyed, but I do want to try different games. Mark, there's a game out there that might be your style. I don't know, Cheesy, if you guys have heard it, Dave the Diver. That we're going to talk about that game very quickly, but I when we do, it's a crazy game where essentially you are a fisherman and you get fish, and then you run a sushi restaurant at night. And I've heard it's amazing. So, but that's the type of game I probably should be trying out just to get in there. So with that, we're going to transition to the E3 in September. We had so many announcements about events, leaks. And then we aren't even going to cover Tokyo Game Show, which is coming out in 2 days, where Xbox is going to be there. So with that, Mark, I'm going to hand this over to you, because you're a little more economical in time than I am, and I can go on a long time. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you take us through these wonderful events.
Sure, especially when Ahsoka's on the line, I'm gonna run through this a little bit. But so yeah, we're gonna focus on a few different things that happened over the last couple of days. Some of them were expected, some of them were big surprises, but it's amazing what can happen in 2 weeks since we last recorded. The first one we're going to talk about just happened today, kind of like overnight when we're sleeping, woke up to this news. Xbox. The Xbox versus, was it the FTC? All of this stuff just kind of came out, got leaked. The FTC is blaming Microsoft for the leak. I haven't seen anything other than that when I was leaving work, and it was like, we're blaming you. So we'll see how that kind of progresses. This is still ongoing. So if you're listening to this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, and you know more than we do, hey, it's Tuesday and we're just learning this. Okay. So the Xbox roadmap, leaked. There's hardware leaks. There's acquisition talks. There's software stuff. There's cloud assisted gaming, I guess. Have you guys both had, hybrid gaming. Have you guys both had time to kind of read through some of the stuff that was leaked?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Todd? I absorbed it all.
Perfect. There's a great, so if you're looking for that, there is a great Verge article that kind of, or like a Verge landing page that kind of summarized a whole bunch of stuff, and then you can click read full article for the things that you really want. So I read that summary page. I read every single article. It was really, really interesting. But basically, I think the way just to get through all of these events, let's not break down every single thing that happened. So if there's something that stood out to you, I want to hear what it was. Todd, since you're a little bit more well-versed in this one than Cheesy is, let's start with you for this one and see what stood out for this event.
Oh, wow.
This leak.
The fact that their basically hardware map with actual created documents, which look slick got released. I mean, some of those things of note are they've essentially indicated when their next revisions are coming out, which they said they weren't going to do. So we essentially are getting a new S, which is going to launch with more RAM. It's going to launch with a 1 terabyte base, going to sell for $300. So it's going to be the same price with improvements. Not really performance improvements. I mean, the RAM will help, definitely, but it's going to get more things that are going to be, I would call them improvements, including, I believe, Wi-Fi 6E. It's going to have better Bluetooth. It's going to be greener, with meaning lower power, more recyclability, increased use of like recycled plastics, which is great. It's going to also, it's called Elwood is what the new one called. And this one's supposed to launch in, I believe, August of next year. And it's going to be all digital again. And it's also going to supplant the current S. And the current S is going to go basically, they're going to sell it inventory Black Friday next year, which just makes sense. The Series X refresh, they're not calling it anything else. Just calling it Series X again. This is just like your new Apple iPhone 12. It just replaces the old one. This is going to completely replace the current X we have. It's going to be all digital going forward. And they are phasing out the current X, going to phase that inventory out. So going forward, Xbox will not have any physical software going forward. That is crazy.
Wow.
But that is where they're headed. They don't want people to buy games from physical stores. They want to own all the profit, and they want you to go digital so you don't trade in games. And that hardware is going to be, it's going to be a cylinder. It's going to be very cool looking. It's going to also include, a USB-C front port. It's going to be 2 terabytes of data or storage. And then other than that, I'll have some of the same things I already talked about. The better things that improve over time than they launched. So that's kind of the big deal. And these are all coming next year. And the S is going to come out in August. And then I believe the new X is going to come out in October. They're going to be staggered, so they all get their moment in time, just like the other consoles did when they launched. So this is a big deal. And along with that, we're also getting a new baseline controller. It's going to replace the current controller you buy for $60. It's going to be $70 apparently, but it's going to have more of that haptic feedback we talked about. It's going to include a cloud-based direct-to-cloud. So Stadia did that. So apparently was better connection, did all of the things that works better with cloud gaming and also connection. And it kind of has a really cool feature where it's two-toned, but the tone is like half and half, white at top, black on the bottom. So instead of Sony doing theirs, and it's going to also be rechargeable or battery swap only. So no more double A's, something they've been asking for to be more green as well. And it's also going to have improved sticks. And it's also going to have a speaker in it, like similar to PlayStation. And it's also going to have an accelerometer, so it's going to have motion. So these are all things that Xbox has been listening about, things that we wanted changed. But it's not pro. These are just iterations like you would have back in the day when you had a little more storage and looks a little different.
Exactly. Yeah. Cheesy, anything that you read from this that kind of has you pumped up, like anything specific or...
So, I mean, I read some of it, and then I watched a video on Good Vibes Gaming that kind of broke all of it down. Digital gaming it's the future, but I'm not happy about it. Obviously, that is the direction that we're going. All of these companies are going more digital than they are physical, or at least even with Nintendo, they want people to buy their vouchers as much as possible. So they don't, and if you buy digital games, you also get, I think, some gold coins or gold points, whatever it's called. So I get it. I understand that's the direction we're headed. Cloud gaming is cool when it works, and for the most part, it does. But I think that there's still some issues there. I think the controller is really cool, especially with gyro. It's so weird that we're just now getting to that. With Xbox especially. But that's great. The thing that, any of the leaks that we got today, all of that could change.
Yeah,
and
they could pivot.
I mean, it's a shame that all of this hard work and teams that have put together these ideas are just now leaked. And that was a roadmap for like 2030, right?
Yeah.
Through
Bring them up to
2030.
2030.
Yeah, and like the new console is coming out next year. So that's just like, that's a bummer. I not to support like a mega company, but to I guess have sympathy of like, you know, if I was in that position, I would be pretty upset too. I think it's going to be pretty awkward for Phil Spencer and Tokyo Game Show this week, but you know, who's to blame? I guess we'll find out, but it's neat that we get all of this information, but also I don't know. I miss surprises, and everything is leaked today, and everybody has some kind of speculation of what could be coming, and we're all just regurgitating everything that we see on the internet. But it's nice when you're just like genuinely surprised, and that doesn't really happen anymore. So yeah, but like I said, they could probably change and pivot.
Yeah.
At least they didn't get screwed by like a bad Sharpie like Sony did when they redacted their. Remember, they didn't use like a dark enough Sharpie, so you could tell like how much they spent on The Last of Us, how many people it took. This is just like some intern apparently didn't redact or just uploaded everything. Oh, okay, I'll take care of that, boss. Oh,
crazy. One thing that surprised me and stood out was the open talk, or at least internal talk, about Phil wanting to acquire Nintendo. And I felt like the emails that I read really showed Phil's character, I think, as not being an act, which I really, really enjoyed. Even stuff when like his reaction got leaked to the Sony announcing the PlayStation 5, and it was like, it's okay. Like, I think we have a better product. I think our software is great. I don't think they can compete with Game Pass. I think we're in a great position. Good job, team. Like, it was just like, holy shit, man. Like, he seems genuinely just like, okay, you know, they did a thing, but like, hey, we're doing our thing. Don't worry about it. But like the talk about acquiring Nintendo, and like they've discussed that as like, we have this money, we're acquiring these shares. We'd like to acquire more shares, but we don't think a hostile takeover is a good move for anyone. So we're just going to wait. We're going to play a long game. We're going to see if Nintendo is open to something like that. We're going to work with them. We're going to like do all this stuff. They have such a big pile of money that they're sitting on for being a billion-year-old company. So like, that's something we have to contend with. But like, we're Microsoft. We know how things work. We're patient, but like, that's the big one, guys. If I could land that, I could retire happy. Like, it's just, it's really cool to see a company as big as Microsoft and someone in there saying like, yeah, we don't need to hostile take over Nintendo. Like, let's let them do their thing. It'll be all right. Like, they could, they could, you know, like it's wild to see that kind of stuff, but also to think of like Microsoft being this big powerhouse and acquiring all these studios, but still seeing Nintendo, the weird toy maker, as like, I'd still love to have that. I still think we'd be better together. I love Nintendo so much. I really just wish we could be partners. That's the vibe that it comes on, is like, not like, I want Nintendo because I need more things. It's like, it's not some dragon sitting on like gold. It's like a hobbit that just wants the best, coolest potatoes like that he can collect. It's the weirdest thing from like a corporate billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company leader to be just like, I don't know, Nintendo's really cool. I'd love to be buddies. Like, what? Okay, cool.
They're all fanboys because they
Thanks,
grew
Phil.
up, enjoying that atmosphere. I mean, it takes you back to when you heard about the original Xbox coming out, and apparently the execs wanted to set up an appointment to buy Nintendo back in the day, and they blew them off, of course, because they're like, "What are you doing? You make spreadsheets and in OSs that aren't very pretty. Leave us alone." Now they're like, we just want to make your hardware, and you put the great games, and we love you because great. But the other one, Mark, was the WB games, and essentially the deal breaker was not having the IP. I'm like, that sucks. They couldn't have figured that out, because WB, I worry about Warner Brothers, Max, all that stuff, and I worry that we're going to lose, some great opportunities. And I don't know if you saw the details about Game Pass. They were trying to fill holes in Game Pass after the delay of Starfield, and it was amazing to see how much. And they had like dollar amount figures, like to get X, it would cost X, and they had like Jedi Fallen Order, or Survivor. No, it was going to cost $300 million to do day and date Jedi Survivor, and that's amazing that they looked at like, is it value? And like, it wouldn't have been a value to us, and they probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, crazy. I'm sure we could have the rest of the episode about this, but let's move on to another event that I didn't expect to focus on gaming at all, let alone as much and as hardcore as it did, and this is the Apple event. We got a new Apple Watch Series 9. We got an iPhone 15 and 15 Pro with all the improvements and blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? We're not here to talk about phones and watches. We're here to talk about games, because they put a big focus on GPU, games coming. We've got Assassin's Creed Mirage, like full versions. This isn't cloud version or like a mobile version. This is like just straight up hook up a controller and play Assassin's Creed Mirage, play what do we say? Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 4. Like, they want this thing. There's also, again, like, I don't know if it's leaked or like someone just kind of started going off on an interview or whatever, but like some Apple exec was saying that like they want the iPhone to be the best gaming console, not handheld, the best gaming console. Let that sit with you for a second and think about Apple, who has never been into gaming, like that kind of gaming. They've been happy having like their app store and their like, doodle jumps and whatever. But like it's crazy to me. And think like Todd, right away, you kind of said this is exciting for like an Apple TV that has a decent GPU in it. My Apple TV is mainly a streaming box. We play some of the Apple Arcade games on it, but I can't imagine choosing or having the option to choose between my Xbox Series X or an Apple TV with Assassin's Creed Mirage. But that's a possibility with this chipset, potentially. Wild. So there's not, I can't really say like pick and choose your best, but just like quick reactions on like Apple's focus on hardcore gaming. Cheesy, what do you think of this? What are your thoughts on Apple having the best console ever?
Yeah, it's very strange. Like, in a way, it kind of makes sense that's like where they've always been headed. I mean, they've always been on hardware and first like computers, iPods, wherever else we are now, but phones. And Nintendo has always been kind of scared of them for that reason. Like, when it came to the iPad, that was too similar to the Wii U, and they were having issues trying to market the same thing. Yep. I'm a little confused. Like, would the phone be a controller? I mean, like, they are saying that it would run the game, but if you're like, would you cast it to your TV then? Or like, what would be the point?
You have a couple of different options. So you can right now hook up a PlayStation or an Xbox controller to your phone through Bluetooth, and iOS 17, which I've been playing with for a little while, but just dropped yesterday, officially, like full release. That has more controller stuff in the settings, like built in. Apple TV is the same way. The new OS for the Apple TV, right away, as soon as you drop down the menu, there's a controller icon there. So they're literally screaming at you to be like, hook a controller up to this thing. I'm sure for these games, there will be touch screen options for the phone, but like, they are super pushing. It wouldn't surprise me if Apple released their own controller within the next year or two.
Uh-huh.
But right now they're like straight up going to an Apple store and buy an Xbox controller or a PlayStation 5 controller and hook it up to whatever device you want. Like I have my iPad's right in front of me here for show notes on a stand. I could leave my iPad up there, play games. I've done that before. Same thing. I could kind of mount my phone on a little stand and play a game that way. There's also, the little clips and stuff. Like I have a clip that hooks onto an Xbox controller and has my phone kind of mounted on top of my Xbox controller. So there's a lot of options.
There's another option too, Mark. I was just reading about this. iPhone 15s can support external displays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine just hooking your phone up to a display, and then you don't have to worry about your little screen or whatever. You can connect directly to the phone for your controller support, and now you're playing on a screen. That makes a lot more sense than bringing a controller with you on a trip. Or I mean, I do it with those things, the Backbone thing. I mean, that Backbone obviously would work too.
Backbone too.
But this is the way you can really say this is a console, because you're playing it on a big screen. Everyone can see it. Obviously, there's concern about heat and generating that much power. Obviously, if it's comparable to a PlayStation 5, yes, those are graphically great for this size of a screen. You blow it up, that resolution, the output of that takes more horsepower. And there's a reason why those systems are so robust with that. The hardware is great. It's still from when I was reading this, when you're playing a game, it generates a lot of heat on the device, even Apple. So I think this is a way to do that. And to Mark's point, I've said, get this graphics chipset in a new Apple TV, and you now have a console. You get developers that know they can reach out to how many consumers with this and tie it to maybe a higher tier Apple Arcade. And if you're getting games that are current gen, which are your iPhone RE4 and the next Assassin's Creed game, I mean, that has to worry Nintendo that somebody could out resource them, because you've got all these users built in, because that's what Xbox and PlayStation, everyone wants to get to that number of 4 billion users that have a device in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Apple could easily do this. I'm impressed.
They could. Everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is LucasArts part of Disney?
Lucasfilm, LucasArts, yeah.
That's all part of Disney
games. Yeah, I mean, Disney games.
Apple's looking at buying Disney. That's the rumor.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
Yeah. What they have been for since
Marvel,
2015 or something
Star
like
Wars.
that. Yeah. I do think that it's Pixar. You have a different mindset when you're playing your phone, at least right now. Like when you are waiting for your table, or like you're waiting on a bus or whatever it is, you have your phone. And right now we just have the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to play a quick mobile game, something that is just dopamine hits, right? Yep. But if you're playing Assassin's Creed on your phone, are you going to have the same mindset of that versus like having a Switch, which is the main purpose for that device?
Yeah.
Where you get
I've never been able to click with that.
Yeah.
You get a notification and you just jump out of the game. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. That's my problem with it. Is I've had those clips, I've had those options, even with Game Pass, to stream a game and play it on my phone or whatever. But I've never felt like that's the device to play it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the games on my phone. It's like, I have Ridiculous Fishing and Angry Birds and Shovel Knight Dig and like Pokemon Go, Vampire Survivors. Like it's that kind of like quick little game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I've never, that is, I think maybe a generational mindset kind of thing though, too. Like that could quickly get, because like even the Switch, I think is kind of a learning curve to me, like mobile game or not mobile, like portable gaming.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to think about it was like a Game Boy Advance, maybe a DS, 3DS kind of thing that still was like a downgrade of visual. So you want like a simpler experience. You expect it to not be up to console level ready to go kind of stuff. And like now the Switch kind of feels underpowered. But when Switch first came out, it was like, holy crap, this is the same stuff I'm playing on my TV as I'm playing like on a rooftop having a party, and I'm, or whatever, like the Switch commercials.
Steam Deck is a PC with PC level games. You're playing Baldur's Gate 3 or Diablo 4 on that thing, and it doesn't lack for power. So that's where I think this is more of an iPad. If you can get the chipset in the next iPad or Apple TV, this plays into the console space far more than on your phone. I think they're just trying to gear people up and show their showcase piece and say what you can do. And then like, yep, we've got a way to play on TV. And that's going to be the next Apple TV Pro or the next iPad Air that you can do this. And you can have a little dock for your iPad and a controller.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the iPad Pro with an M2 in it is already a beast. It just needs someone to put a game on there. It's the same thing that's in their laptops right now. Like it's on par that way. Like I don't know how the GPUs kind of stack up to the new phones or whatever, but like seems the reason that you should be able to it's just so far, I don't know, Apple or developers or whoever, the disconnect of like, please put your games on our things. They can run them now. It's not like Apple was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where they didn't care about gaming. It was like, I think it's really just going to take money for Apple to just be like, yeah, let's switch a focus, instead of like, they're always so focused on like health and this and that, which is great. But like, I think it's really going to take one executive to just be like, nah, screw it. Let's fire off $1 billion trillion to gaming and like really, I don't know. You guys want to own gaming now? Cool. Like they have enough money to just do whatever they want. They just haven't so far. So that's like it. If I'm Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, like anything from this Apple event, that's got to get me like, oh shoot, they just looked at us.
And aren't they making cars too?
That's the rumor. Yeah, they've been trying to build a car and VR sets and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see where they go. But I did think that was an interesting kind of thing.
I want an Apple air fryer. Give it to me.
Just shove a Granny Smith into your air fryer, bud. That's close enough for now. Some baked apples in the air fryer. I'm sure that'll work. You can look up a recipe. Till then, Todd's going to share his recipes in. We do have a food section of the Discord channel,
I
right?
posted some things there. I like to cook.
Let's look it up. Yeah. I want to see that air fryer baked apples. Let's leave Apple behind and move on to the actual gaming planned announcements that happened, which is the Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation State of Play. We'll start with Nintendo. Let's just pick like one or two games each that really jumped out at us. Because again, we could talk about this list because holy crap, what a list, what a Direct, and Sony knocked out with some stuff as well, but not as much as Nintendo. So Cheesy, as a fellow kind of Nintendo guy, can you narrow this down to a couple of games that really jumped out at you?
I bet I know what Cheesy's number one's going to be.
Let's see.
Is it Splatoon?
No. Yes, it is. Absolutely. I'm like, I've heard your pains over Splatfest and things like that. Where's my sidearm?
Yeah, it's Splatoon 3 has been a bit rough with Splatfest. There's been some issues there, but no, with the way they started the Direct out the gate was Splatoon 3's Side Order, which is the DLC. And oh my God, one, it was Splatoon, so I was already hooked. But then they show one of the new characters, which is this green Octoling. And if you're familiar with Splatoon lore, that is DJ Deadfish, or Ott is her name. And what's really cool about that is we've only seen DJ Deadfish on like an album cover just through development or developers Q&A. And what's cool about that character is all the music that you heard in Octo Expansion, the Splatoon 2 DLC, was made by DJ Deadfish in the world of Splatoon. So it's really cool that we actually get to see this character as a NPC and get to interact with them and probably learn some more lore But then they said that it's like a roguelike, which I guess they didn't really talk about it, but IGN said that it's a roguelike. And so when you're going back and looking through the footage, you are climbing up the spire, which is this tower, and you get in an elevator and it only takes you up one floor each time. And Nintendo even made a joke about this today, like, how did this get approved? How did this elevator get made?
Mass Effect, did Mass Effect design this elevator?
Yeah. But I've always wanted to see a roguelike from Nintendo. I think that it would be so cool, and a genre that they haven't done yet. And the fact that it's going to be in Splatoon fits so perfectly. And it's going to be endless hours of replay value. And that's something that they mentioned too, is that they wanted it to be a mode that you can play over and over again. So, I mean, if you're tired of Turf War or Ranked or Salmon Run, you now have this brand new mode that maybe you've played 1,000 times, but you can try different abilities and upgrades. And I'm just so excited to see where that goes and how it's going to play.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Todd, anything jump out to you for this direct?
Well, I've got one that just made me laugh, and that's the Spy Family anime, if you've ever watched that before, Spy Family X. The name of the game is called Spy Anya, so I'm spying on you. I like that pun. It's very good, but it's very not for me, though. But, good question. So I would probably say the game that I liked what they showed. Paper Mario is very cool. I'm glad it's coming. It's a game I never really got into. Very cool. But the game that probably surprised me the most, that reminds me of one of my favorite games, is the Princess Peach Showtime. This is very cool because it reminds me of a game called The Puppeteer on PlayStation 3, which was like a show presentation. You had an audience. The audience would relax. They would cheer. There was musical elements of it. It was very cool. Love the aesthetic. Yeah. This game is essentially it's almost like a production, so Showtime, where she's performing different roles, different vignettes, and you get to be a ninja. You get to be a swashbuckler. You get to be a chef, a detective. And the gameplay is a little bit interesting because it also reminded me of Klonoa, where it was kind of like a kind of scrolls around the world and does kind of like that rotational piece as well. And something tells me this feels like those specific power-ups are going to be tied to specific levels. Not like you can be like Kirby where you get everything and everything. I think it's going to be tied to specific experiences, which means it'll probably be integrated very well. And knowing Nintendo, they often just, I'll use that idea once and I won't come back to it. But you could keep going. But no, we're going to. So I'm curious how far they're going to go with this. And people have pointed out, this reminds me of Super Mario Brothers 3, where it was in front of a stage show. Even Super Mario RPG
comparison to sheesh.
Yeah, Super Mario RPG. When you have the battles, the audience shows up for those battles too. So they've said that their characters are like performers. I get it. I like this. I do worry it might be a little too easy. That's the only thing. It didn't look like a challenging game. So I hope it is more challenging, or it's got levels of like difficulty that it's for all ages. Because I think that's where Nintendo can solve. Like the Kirby games can get really hard, but they can be really easy. So I hope it's a good balance. But that game probably was the one that surprised me the most.
Nice. I do have to give a quick shout out to Trombone Champ just because it made me laugh so much. I've watched videos on that one before. Mm-hmm. Didn't expect it to come to console.
So good.
I still haven't picked it up, but I really need to. Like I might. I kind of forgot about it until we were talking about right now because of the Baby Shark and whatever. But like that needs to happen before the end of this week.
The mode with the IR mark, have you seen that, Cheesy, where it's like you're doing a trombone slider, but it's using the IR camera? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The real one I want to shout out is one that made my wife absolutely freak out, but also get very depressed because they said this was all winter stuff, like coming out this fall or this winter. And freaking Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is next summer. Come on.
For a spooky game?
Why? and it's a remake. They just did
The
it's
DS
prettier.
game, right? Was it DS?
3DS.
3DS.
Oh, 3DS. Okay.
And it was so good. Holy crap, it was good. One of her favorite games, one of my favorites. Like it is such a good game. And like it was one of those I expected the whole time I'm watching. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be the spooky game. This is going to be my October game. Let's go. This is coming out just
Like this year?
What?
You thought it was coming this year?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, why wouldn't it? Because it's just a
don't
remake.
know.
They could have been working on it in the
Nintendo.
background for years or whatever, or months. You just pay someone to port it.
They launched.
And then it comes out.
They launched Luigi Mansion 3 on Halloween. They gave you 1 day to play it in spooky time. That's that company.
That's still acceptable than summer of 2024 for a port of a game that should have just been done.
Summer is September, Mark. So you can get into late September. It's September 20th is the end of summer.
That's a year away.
You're getting close.
You're depressing me. I thought I was going to play it in freaking June. Now you're saying I got to wait for a year? Anyway, looks great. Can't wait to play it, but it kind of also depressed me. I want to hear what everyone thought, though. So this is a great time to remind people, jump into our Discord, talk about these games. We just don't have time to talk about every single one of these, but if there's one that caught you off guard, let's talk about it in there. Let's keep this going. The last one we want to talk about is the PlayStation State of Play. I will tell you up front that I was trying to watch this today. I was at a like comic convention, kind of like local con this weekend.
Good job, Mark.
So between tanks, it was fun. I got to interview the two voice actors from Sailor Moon, or like moderate their panel. So it was Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars. They were very, very nice ladies. It was fun. But I didn't have time to watch this PlayStation State of Play. I watched most of it today, got a little past where like Spider-Man, and then there was the RPG or whatever they did after Spider-Man. I think I saw that and then kind of dipped. So I'm going to start this off by just saying like Spider-Man looks amazing and makes me want to buy a PlayStation 5. Cheesy. What did you take away from this one?
I took away that the Nintendo Direct and PlayStation Showcase, or whatever it's called, very contrasting directs. And the way that it opened, it was with baby steps. And if you're familiar with the game, then right,
Whop.
then you knew what it was. But like, if you didn't know and you have no context, this game looks broken. It looks terrible. Like that was the game that you opened up with. I'm sure it's going to be fun, but just a weird placement for it to start off the show.
It doesn't. It doesn't show well, and I found that even with. It seemed like they were trying to be edgy or something, but it kind of felt corporate edgy because they were dropping F-bombs in that trailer. They dropped F-bombs in the Resident Evil trailer. And I was like, Resident Evil stands alone. You don't need to start dropping F-bombs to seem edgy or cool. It's just a weird choice. So it was like, hey, this, but it felt so corporate edgy, which again, it was such a weird choice how to start.
They had a nice lady developer or lady there. Tell me about the games. It's not edgy. She was wearing a sweater. She wasn't edgy.
I know, which is why it felt corporate. Why is she there after they're cursing? There's like this sweater lady in between two curses. It was like a cursing sandwich with a sweater lady in the middle. It was weird.
And then you have Nintendo that's like, we have a Princess Peach game.
Right.
Just completely different tones.
Sorry, I just get a tangent there.
No, it's okay. I just thought it was really confusing, and especially having it on the same day as a Nintendo Direct, I don't really think it helped them much, and it was all over the place too because it was supposed to be indies, right? Like that's all.
Yeah, they said indies and third party. Indies and third party.
Huh.
Yeah. Well,
that's Final Fantasy. An indie third party game, isn't it?
Yeah, Final Fantasy. Yeah. It's still an indie game. Yeah.
Tiny little.
But yeah, I agree. Spider-Man looks awesome. I wish I had a PlayStation 4 Insomniac games, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of confused after watching the Nintendo Direct. And Foam Stars, I am very curious about Foam Stars because that's just
so
like
weird. People said they've played it, they liked it. It's so
Yeah.
weird. It's like such a weird
It looks
game.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a Splatoon like clone basically, or that's what it looks like. But I'm curious to see how it plays.
Square Enix. They're
Yeah.
going after that
Yeah.
Splatoon money 6
Yeah.
years later or whatever, 10 years later.
Yeah.
And the characters look like they're like one of those Honkai Star Rail characters too. They look very generic, the characters
Mhm.
in that game. Yeah, it's very weird. It's like they said, we're gonna take Splatoon characters, but we're gonna human them up. And it's like
Kind of what it seems like. Yeah.
It's a little weird. Weird choice.
Yeah.
State of plays are never good. I will just say that State of Play is like the knockoff.
Full
It's got
stop.
the Nintendo. What is it? They do their third party, or they do like the partners direct, which is never like it's kind of like it's okay. That's like this. This is like the obligation we have to our partners that bless their I was surprised Spider-Man was there, to be honest, because they rarely have first party games at these events, and they had it there, and that was the start of the show. But what really surprised me was the fact that we got RE4 DLC. I love that game, and I'm so excited for it. Ava Wong is awesome. Love her to pieces. And you know what? I'll say it. The Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer is amazing. I just recommend watching that, Mark. It just was like, there is so much stuff in this game. It looks awesome. I didn't really love the first game. I played a little bit, and I'm like, now I want to play it. And the cool part about these games is there's no cross save, because essentially each one of these games is a standalone. They don't want people to come in OP to the next game, so they basically are starting you over, which is fine. So I'm like, I potentially could just skip the first game, get the story beats, and jump into this one because it looks like it has more stuff to do, like riding chocobos. Come on, I'm a chocobro.
Yeah, I definitely intend to go finish this, so don't think I'm not going to watch that trailer and anything else that happened. I just ran out of time before we recorded. So I also got to give a shout out to the Ghostbusters VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mother today, and she found our old Ghostbuster packs from when I was a kid. So like 30-year-old Ghostbuster packs in the basement. And I was like, I need that. So
does that come to Oculus?
Go get my Ghostbuster pack. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, good. Very good. Is it cross play or no?
Don't know. Didn't see that in the trailer.
So.
I really hope. It's something I need to do research on, and just kind of ran out of time. But I'm really, really hoping any kind of VR stuff, because VR is still so niche that I really think developers, if they really want to make a game have any kind of longevity, they need to do it on any single platform that they can to get the biggest audience. Because if I can play on my Quest with you on your PSVR 2, with someone else on their future Apple headset or whatever like comes out, like I think they just need to get like, hey, here's the 2 million people that actively play a VR set. I'll play together, please. I don't like it. It seems so weird to just segment it. I think that's a setup for failure for every company involved.
Yes, you need something to raise all ships with VR right now, because I think the next announcement we're getting is Oculus 3, which is
real soon. Very,
yeah, and it won't be cheap. So getting more people into those systems would be great.
Yeah.
Well, folks, TGS is coming out in 2 days. By the time you listen, it might be already over. So there'll probably be some Game Pass announcements there. I'm not sure what else will happen there. So that is it for September. And then after that, I think we're getting to the Game Awards is the next big show. So we got a couple months off just to play games and have a good time. So that's what we should do. But before we leave, Cheesy, thank you once again for being on. Thank you for joining us. Tell people where they can find you.
Oh, thank you guys. I think you guys are great. And I just, anytime I get to hang out with you, and I see you on Twitter every once in a while, and we interact, but it's nice to come on the show. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. CheezyC64, CheezyC64. I also co-host a podcast called Communication Error. It's a gaming debate podcast, and also co-host of Nintendo Powercast, which is just like talking about weekly Nintendo news. So you can also find me there as well.
I love what you're doing with showing snippets of your show. It's always fun. I love how you and your co-host often disagree, which is great because that's what it's all about.
Thank you. Yeah, the whole point of the show is just to have a discussion. Like if we were able to sit down and actually just talk to one another, maybe we would realize we don't have very like different thoughts, and like we are kind of seeing on the same page, but everybody just wants to argue, and we're just trying to, and then we bring on guests to hear their thoughts and see maybe even if Johnny and I have different opinions, maybe our guests will shed light on a topic. And so it's been really fun that way.
Nice. Your TikTok game also is just on point, man. You just, every time I see your videos all the time, and I'm just like, man, he's doing it right. Like, just
thank you.
Instantly captivating, instantly entertaining and amusing. And I watch every single one that I scroll to that comes up, and it's, and you come up a lot because I keep watching you. So you're doing something right for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Sometimes when you're recording, you're like, oh my God, I don't think this video is going to be good. I can't even get through it. And now I still have like probably a half hour to edit. And yeah, so that means a lot.
Yep.
Awesome. Mark.
Yeah. You can find me everywhere. Not so much Twitter anymore because it's stuff. So anyway, but everywhere. I'll still, I still see the notification. So if you want to get me there, you can. But everywhere as _Canardian.
Very, very good. I'll just say the elephant in the room. They're going to start charging, so I will no longer be on X once they start charging. So Threads and Instagram will probably be where I live. For the most part, I have Hive as well, but really Threads and Instagram seems to be the place to go. So I just need to get better about that, which is myself and also Secret Friends Unite are both on those platforms. So trying to get better at those as they introduce new features. So I'm there talking about all the fun stuff in the world. Check out secretfriendsunite.com for all our content and also our Patreon. Get a free trial and just check out our stuff. We'd love to hear what you think about it. Yeah. Right. Well, gentlemen, it's time for Ahsoka. So I'm going to say thank you for joining us. It's been a ride.
You. Yeah. Really appreciate it.
It's cheesy. It's why we do this. We like to have people on and talk about things we love. So yeah, talk about Baby Shark. Why not?
Yeah.
So with that, I say thank you all. And remember, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.